In the summer of 1976, on the tense border between North and South Korea, an incident unfolded that brought the world to the brink of conflict. It began with a tree, a simple poplar tree growing in the Korean Demilitarized Zone, or DMZ, but this tree would become the center of an international standoff, culminating in a show of force so overwhelming that it would send a clear message to North Korea and the world. This is the story of Operation Paul Bunyan. August 18, 1976. In the DMZ, a team of American and South Korean soldiers set out on what seemed like a routine task: to trim a poplar tree that was obstructing the view between two key guard posts. The tree, standing in the joint security area, was a source of tension, as it blocked the line of sight for UN forces monitoring the North Korean border. But what was meant to be a simple maintenance operation quickly turned deadly. As the work began, a group of North Korean soldiers approached, demanding that the tree trimming stop immediately. When the UN forces refused, the situation escalated rapidly. The North Koreans, armed with axes and clubs, launched a sudden and brutal attack. Within minutes, two US Army officers, Captain Arthur Boniface and Lieutenant Mark Barrett, lay dead. The incident, known as the Axe Murder Incident, sent shockwaves through the American and South Korean command. In response, US President Gerald Ford and South Korean President Park Chung-hee faced a critical decision. They needed to respond with strength, but without sparking a full-scale war on the Korean peninsula. The solution was Operation Paul Bunyan, a meticulously planned show of force designed to demonstrate that the US and South Korea would not be intimidated. On August 21, 1976, just 3 days after the killings, Operation Paul Bunyan was launched. In the early morning hours, a massive convoy of vehicles, including military engineers, infantry and special forces, rolled into the DMZ. Over 800 soldiers, backed by a fleet of attack helicopters, B-52 bombers and fighter jets, were on standby, prepared for any possible North Korean response. But this was no ordinary military operation. Its objective was not to engage the enemy, but to finish the job that had begun 3 days earlier. The target, that same poplar tree. In a carefully orchestrated operation, the engineers, wielding chainsaws, swiftly cut down the offending tree, reducing it to logs and branches in just 42 minutes. The entire time, North Korean forces watched from a distance, aware that any move against the UN forces would be met with overwhelming firepower. The operation was a success. No shots were fired, and the message was clear: the US and its allies would not back down. Operation Paul Bunyan was a masterclass in military strategy, using a display of overwhelming force to prevent further violence. It showcased the delicate balance of power in the DMZ, where even the smallest actions could have significant consequences. The operation also served as a deterrent, reminding North Korea of the formidable strength arrayed against them. Today, Operation Paul Bunyan stands as a testament to the complexities of the Cold War, where geopolitical tensions could flare up over something as seemingly trivial as a tree. It was a moment when the world held its breath, and a reminder of the constant vigilance required to maintain peace in one of the most volatile regions on Earth. As the tree was felled, so too was the immediate threat of further conflict. But the legacy of Operation Paul Bunyan endures, a symbol of resolve, strength, and the careful calculus of deterrence in the shadow of war. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and as always, stay curious.